pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting, West Branch City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Crowner,
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Lees,
Here.
West, Rollins.
Need to perfect and approve the agenda.
So moved as presented.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Motion carried. Consent agenda.
Motion approved as presented.
Support.
Motion with support to approve consent agenda items 1 through 12, which are the minutes of regular city council meeting on September 4th, 2013. Approve the addition of wine sales, the Casey's liquor license. Approve training for fire department officers at the Tri-State Emergency Responder Conference. Approve City Administrator Giffords' attendance at the APA Planning Conference. Approve Justin Curtis's resignation from the Fire Department. Approve payment to City of Burlington. Approve payment to Des Moines County Regional Waste Commission. Approve payment to Burlington Municipal Water Works. Approve payment to Iowa Department of Transportation. Approve payment to Municipal Supply Inc. Approve the clerk's financial report for August 2013, and approve the claims list as presented in the amount of $296,783.79. And that breaks down to the general fund, $63,704.34. Hotel motel tax, $4,057.23. Road use tax, $8,864.44. Public Works Building, $167,859.79. Water, $40,463.97. The Beaverdale escrow, $15.87. Westwood escrow, $15.87. Woodman escrow, $15.87. Sewer, $10,077.37. Risk management self-insurance, $1,392.26. And the flex account, $316.78. Any discussion? Roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Stewart. Aye.
Motion carried. At this time, before we get into committee reports, I want to move item number 10 up for under new business, because Dan Everhart's here. If anybody has any questions on this resolution, and he needs to be in Oakville to another council meeting by 7 o'clock easily.
I won't speak.
So, item number 10 is a consider resolution authorizing financial support for Great River Housing Trust Fund. And it's a pledge for $5,000. It's part of a local match for the 2014 drawdown. Dan, you want to tell how many homes we've had done
Well,
last time around?
in this past year, we have had, we've invested nearly, a little over $47,000 into 5 properties into West Burlington. In the past, this city has been very, very good in supporting the Great River Housing Trust Fund and our applications to the Iowa Finance Authority, which helps bring back money to the 4-county region. So as you would contribute money to this fund, we make sure that we do projects within your community. So looking at your $5,000 pledge from last year, and us investing over $47,000, you're getting a good bang for your buck, which not only helps the homeowners, but you look at curbside appeal, you look at supply purchasing, stabilization within the neighborhood. It's a wonderful thing. It does a lot of good, and we just appreciate your assistance in helping us with your contribution. When Great River Housing Trust Fund makes an application to the Iowa Finance Authority, we're required to come up with a 25% cash match. This year, we're applying for, $365,000, which means we need to raise $90,000. We'll have around $450,000 then to distribute for housing projects for low to moderate income families within the region. And we've made sure that communities that have assisted us in the past, we get these projects out to you. So we're doing 3 things. We're doing owner-occupied rehab we're doing down payment assistance, and new this year is development assistance. The thing I like about the development assistance is it allows a developer, if they want to tear down a house, build something new, we'll offer them $25,000 in assistance to sell that home to a low to moderate income family. We can also do that with a dilapidated housing. If they choose to rehab that, a major rehab, we'll help them out too. So if you know of any projects, steer them our way, and we'll make sure that we'll at least, our board will consider it. So the mayor sits on our board. In fact, he is the chairman of Great River Housing Trust Fund, and has been very helpful in that committee. So if they have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Couple of them, Dan. Everything still so far is owner occupied that we help out? Is that correct?
So far, yes. We had 5 owner occupied this year, so.
But that's within the rules of this new one that you're applying for. But you said you had 3 areas.
We're doing 3 areas of assistance: owner occupied, down payment assistance, and development assistance.
The development, though, could that be on a rental house or not?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
Yes, it can.
'Cause I'd heard rumor that maybe you was gonna have a program to help with some of that, so.
Right,
Okay.
right. So you can rent it too.
Okay, okay. Then just to clarify one thing, because I'm not sure this is exactly correct, and I know you guys have invested a lot of money in our town last year, but this letter states that you're again asking for $5,000 of local match to fund work on at least 5 properties in West Burlington. That's not necessarily
That's not
true.
necessarily true. We've done 5 in this past year.
Okay. Well, our note from Mr. Gifford says that we're gonna give you 5,000 and you're gonna do work on 5 properties
Oh, we'll see
in
what
our
we can do.
town, but
We'll see what we can do. We'll try to do as much as what we can, Rod.
that's false.
Yeah.
Okay, I
It's-
mean, because we don't know.
We don't know until the applicants come in.
Last year, because I went off my same memo as last year, and last year you said you would try to do that, and it turned
Right.
out that way that we did, so.
We did.
And it's
I
fine,
may-
I'm still for
I
this.
may not have
I
worded
just
it
want to make
correct-
sure we
quite
all
correctly,
understand
but-
that they're not guaranteeing we're gonna have 5
No, that's
that,
not
that,
guaranteed,
that fit their,
but more.
yeah.
Could be
I know.
more.
Yeah, yeah,
But they did do 5 last year, so.
absolutely. And they were all good projects.
So,
That's all I have.
Any other questions? Yeah, motion to pass a resolution.
Motion to approve?
Support.
Motion with support. Any other questions? Discussion? Roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Raleigh,
Yes, I was this afternoon, I did read some of this, so I knew what was going on, so apologize for being late. Aye.
Stewart. Aye. Lees.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Dan.
thank you very much, and we will see you tomorrow for
I'll bring
tomorrow's
it out
meeting.
tomorrow,
Yeah. Okay.
I know it, I know what
yeah.
you, I know what you.
Okay. Back to committee reports. Finance. Rod, you got anything?
I don't have anything new. I don't know if
Anybody have
Leslie
anything
does.
for Finance? Yep, streets. Nick, you got anything going on the streets?
I was gonna say, oh, I can go home now, that was the last thing that was on the agenda.
Yeah.
No, I don't, but Randy.
I don't have anything
don't you?
tonight.
Dan, do you have any?
No, I don't have anything.
Public safety. Teresa?
I don't have anything, but our chiefs are here.
No, they're not.
Frank had to
Oh,
step out for a
Frank's
few
gone.
minutes.
Now we've got, where's it, Ryan?
I think Frank's got something on the agenda further on down. He might be back for that, but Sergeant could probably fill you in on any questions about that thing too. Mike, you got anything?
Under fire, our last portion of the fire hoses come in. We're in the process of testing, getting it set up to be tested. The first shipment received several weeks ago has been tested and has been placed in service in the apparatus or has been put into reserve to offset the old cotton jacketed hose. Under buildings, Dayton Freight, the final is in the process of being scheduled. The house over at the old middle school continues to be framed and roofed. Condos over on Wally Dave's condos, the same way, being framing is continuing. Papa John's interior framing's underway. The roughing of the electrical and plumbing is done. City maintenance building only made 2 inspections on the rebarb wall for the salt dome, and everything there has slowed way down for now. Under the Marshall store, I've got 9 revisions to approve. The sprinkler plan came in and was denied. They have resubmitted and it was approved. Electrical has been inspected by the State Fire Marshal's office. Sheet rock ceiling grids, tile, plumbing are all underway. And I've been working with a designer on a remodel of a library at the SCC for over the Christmas break. That's all I got.
Do I have anything for Mike? Utilities, Carol?
I don't have anything, Randy.
I don't have anything tonight.
Do I have anything for utilities? Sanitation, Dan's not here. Got anything going on in there, Randy?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Other staff reports. I guess we're gonna have a presentation from the Des Moines County Living Well, SAC. Okay, you got a PowerPoint. Did Brad teach you how to do that?
I'm not going to be the techie tonight. It's after that. I'm Deb Mulch, Executive Director for the Burlington Area Community YMCA, YWCA. I'm also the community coach or the Y coach for the Des Moines County Living Well Coalition. We've been here in the past and talked to you about our coalition. Our mission is to create opportunities for every citizen to lead a healthy lifestyle by influencing sustainable policy and environmental changes that will make Des Moines County a healthier place to live. In 2012, we created a work plan that identified initiatives and collaborations for Des Moines County Living Well to focus on. These initiatives include creating community gardens, developing bike paths, and adopting complete streets policies for Burlington and West Burlington. To date, we have received $104,000 in grant funding for various projects and to get our coalition established. We have several accomplishments that we've have attained. We created a garden our second year on the Y property. Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission also created a workplace garden this year out on their property. We have developed the Greater Burlington Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan, which we've been here and talked to you about that. We received a grant from Wellmark to complete a 500-foot connector for the shared use path behind Fairway. That will be done this fall. We've submitted several additional grants for projects identified as priorities for the bicycle and pedestrian plan as well. And we've done community education on complete streets through presentations to community groups and the temporary conversion of Main Street to a complete street last May. We have developed partnerships with Hy-Vee, Bike Burlington, the Imagine Campaign, the Renewable Energy and Conservation Commission, Downtown Partners, and the University of Iowa. That's a little background and reminder of kind of who we are and what we're doing, and Zach's going to talk more about the Complete Streets initiative.
All right, good evening. My name is Zach James. I'm the Planning Director at the Southeast Iowa Planning Commission, then also a member on the Des Moines County Living Well Coalition. This was going to be just a really quick presentation, a 2-page handout. We just presented at Burlington a couple weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, on the same thing. But then we had also presented on this topic back earlier this year to several groups, including the city of Burlington, and it had intended to come here but forgot. So just today I kind of realized that, and so I had to switch things up, and you're going to get the longer version so I can give you a little bit of background on the topic. So complete streets, what are they? It's a street that's accessible for all users. So whether you're a pedestrian, bicyclist, car, you ride transit, and then the key too, it's all ages, all abilities. So trying to make roads useful for everybody, and depending on their situations, making it easier for people to get around. I got a couple pictures. These are the, I call these like the ideal situations. Probably most complete streets wouldn't be this way, but this kind of gives the basic overview, where you've got sidewalks, you've got bike lanes, the way the street's set up for the cars with the turn lanes. In the picture on the right, you can see the bus in the background, and just the way the crossings are set up and well marked. So those are kind of the ideal situations. But I've got several examples here to maybe give you a more practical idea of what they look like or what they would be. So this is was a state highway at one time. well, probably is still a state highway, but converted in a central business district, probably a 4-lane street, maybe with some parking on it. But it's been converted, what they would call a road diet, where you take, several lanes, 4 or 5 lanes of traffic and cut it down to, in this situation, 2 lanes in each direction and then 1 for turn lanes. But then we also see that they've added bike lanes for bicycles on each side. They still have parking on each side for motorists, and then you get over to the sidewalks. You can see they're really wide sidewalks, trees that are good for both pedestrians and for the cars. Keeps the vehicles cool, keeps pedestrians cool when they're walking. Also kind of provides a buffer for pedestrians when you're walking. Makes them feel a little bit safer along such a busy road. So, and I don't know that you can see any on here, but I looked this up. This is in Pennsylvania somewhere. There are transit stops along this road as well.
Before you go any further, Zach, I gotta defer to Sergeant Ryan, but isn't Iowa code say you can't back into a stall like that?
I don't know. This is actually something, somebody asked me this because I did this same presentation. This is kind of a newfangled thing that people do in certain communities. They actually tried this in Cedar Rapids. It's supposedly safer.
Well, I did that once downtown
And you got ticketed for
and I
it?
got a parking ticket or something, a warning ticket or something.
No, actually, there's several communities that have done this. Some of the ones that I've heard about, though, the public hasn't liked it at all, and they've gotten rid of it. But it's supposed to be a safer way, and if people are shopping or something, it's easier to get in your trunk so you're not standing like in the middle of traffic. And when you come out, you're facing with traffic, so you don't have to turn around and look.
I think in Des Moines on the bridges over the river, there's on where they used to have angle there. I think the last time I was in Des Moines, there were some backed in there, along there.
Locust Bridge.
Yeah.
So there's places, I mean, it's said that it's supposed to be safer and some places do it, but I read an article where they did this in Cedar Rapids and people got very upset about it and they switched it back, so. I suppose I didn't mention that in here, but that is something else you could take away from that.
Maybe just city codes then, or written under city code, I don't know.
So this is kind of a very similar situation, but probably a little less the downtown business district, but more kind of a strip commercial. Again, what we call the road diet, where you take a 4-lane, convert it down to 2 lanes. They've got bicycle lanes. They still have parking. They don't have quite as many street trees. There's a lot of power lines. Some of those things aren't necessarily ideal, but it is set up where it's more user-friendly for all users, where you've got bicyclists, pedestrians, but you still have it set up in a manner that's usable for motorists. And really, this is doing these 3 lanes conversions are typically more safe than doing like a 4-lane roadway. So very safe and very good for all users. Kind of another example of a very similar situation where it's kind of a primary roadway in a strip commercial area. This is a little more unique because it's separated with a median. That's a little bit safer for all users just because when you separate traffic, you have a little less conflict points. It also provides a little traffic calming, so drivers tend to go a little bit slower. You still have a bike lane on one side. They're not very big trees, but there's a lot of trees on the side. Again, that kind of provides a buffer for pedestrians or people walking. I don't know if you can tell on here or not, but I think there's ADA ramps. I didn't mention that on any of the other ones, but that's kind of a key element when you're doing this. Again, all users, you want to make sure you're ADA friendly for people with disabilities. I would assume at a crossing with a median, they're usually a little bit safer. It gives people a refuge if they're crossing the street, especially one that's this wide. People will feel safer when they cross and go along two lanes of traffic, but then stop and look and make sure they're still safe to go the rest of the way. And then this is the one I always say, I saw that ideal picture in the first one. I mean, that's not for every street. That's not for every roadway. And when you talk about complete streets and some of the different elements I talked about, they're not for every street, and really some streets you could probably consider complete streets. And actually, if you go around West Burlington, most of the streets are probably already fit this category, where they're residential streets. They're not very wide, not very much traffic, slow-moving traffic. They probably got sidewalks with ADA ramps. You tend to have a lot of street trees, which are favorable for people walking or biking, but they're set up well for moving traffic as well. So I think when you look at most of your streets in town, they'd probably fit this category and probably be really, for the most part, considered complete streets already. So some of the benefits, it's really the transportation benefit accommodating all users, all abilities. That's really in the definition. It's good for bicyclists, pedestrians, transit users, people of all ages, young, old. And then one thing I always mention here is I guess it fits under this one, but a big topic is equity. You know, there's a lot of people who just can't get around by any other means of transportation. And I take pictures when I'm driving now, ever since I've started kind of researching this, because I see people just on my way to work. I've got a couple pictures actually where people are riding their bikes right down the middle of Gear Avenue, you know, in the middle of traffic. And I would assume most of those people, some of them are diehard bicyclists, but others, I just get the feeling they probably don't have any other way to get around. So this is a way for making things safer for all people and allowing them a way to get around. Safety. It's safer for all users, especially the road diet situation that I talked about, where you go from a 4-lane to a 3-lane. It really reduces the conflict points between vehicles, especially for turning traffic. There's a lot of research out there, especially the Iowa DOT has kind of been a leader in this, in the road diets. They've done several reports on reduction of crashes and the severity of crashes. Economic viability, there's several studies that talk about increased foot traffic, especially in business districts, in merchants, and increase in shopping. And then I just added this today as I was just kind of cleaning this up because I saw this at a presentation one time. This magazine, this is a picture from the cover of a magazine from the National Association of Realtors a couple years ago. They did this article about the next group of home buyers, the young families that are looking to buy homes, and it talks about how they're into green building and green living. They're interested in more urban living, living in space, and then they have this picture here where they show somebody riding a bike down the middle of the street. So I mean, that's the type of things when I hear people a lot when I go to meetings around here talking about keeping young families, attracting young people. I mean, these are the types of facilities and types of things that they're looking for. I mean, when I look at myself moving here I went to school in Iowa State and Ames, in a community where, you know, there's a lot of biking facilities. It's easy to get around that way. I mean, those are the types of things that young people are looking for. And we definitely lack those types of things in this area. Environmental benefits, improved air quality, reduced fuel use, mostly if you can convert people to walking or biking more, but also, especially with road diets, it tends to ease stop and go traffic. So there's some reductions in those things, even if you're not converting people. But then the main benefit that we're looking at and why we're interested in this is the improvement of health, you know, trying to encourage physical activity, changing the built environment. Some of these quick statistics, Des Moines County is 97th out of 99 in the state for health factors. This is from countyhealthrankings.com. 30% of Des Moines County adults are obese. That's 5% above the state average. And then 30% of Des Moines County 20 or older are physically inactive. I don't think the state averages are anything to brag about either, but we're obviously doing worse than the state as a whole, and 97 out of 99 is pretty bad. And then one other thing, I forgot to print my notes actually, so I don't remember exactly what it is, but I think it's the National Medical Institute or something like that. They did a study a few years ago on the top ways to combat obesity, and their number one thing was changing community design and how we build our communities. That was their number one thing that they recommended for changing how we go about the obesity issues across the country. So complete streets is Des Moines County Living Well. One of our priorities has been adopting complete streets policies both in Burlington and West Burlington, and that's why we're here today to talk about this. I left this note in here. This is from a past one. I don't remember if I don't know if West Burlington was involved in the Blue Zone push or not, or if that was just Burlington by themselves. But if that did happen, that was a requirement of the Blue Zone, is to adopt complete streets policies. And basically what those are, there's something that you would adopt. It could be just a resolution. It could be an actual city ordinance, but it would really direct the city staff on how to plan, design future road facilities and to incorporate, some of these other elements. And that's what we're hoping to do. And I'll talk about some of that process here in a minute. several entities across Iowa have done this. There might be more. This list was from 2 years ago. I don't know if there's other ones now, but some small community like Cascade, a lot of the urban areas, Cedar Rapids, Cedar Falls, Quad Cities, Iowa City, a lot of those larger communities. So one of the things that we tried to do, and this is why I ended up doing this presentation today, we were supposed to do this a long time ago, but building public awareness and education. If we want to be successful in doing the complete streets, we need to build some support for this. So the way that we worked to do this was to present to community organizations, downtown partners. We went to Rotary, Kiwanis, Optimist Club. I don't know, Deb, who else am I missing? We went to several of them. Those are the main ones, but there's probably a few others. The Great River Medical Center, Hospital Board. We went to Young Professionals. We were at Greater Burlington Partnership meeting. We did present at Burlington. Like I said, I'm not sure how we lost, but we were supposed to be at this at the West Burlington Council a long time ago. So we did this education efforts, and then the other thing that we wanted to do was this temporary complete street, where we actually took a street in the area and basically did a test run for a complete street to let people actually see what it's like and be able to use it. So this idea for that came from this event called Heyday and Mayday in Omaha, where you can kind of see, especially in the upper right-hand corner, where they had some street paint and people could use the street. They have transit facilities in the bottom left too. I guess you can see it pretty well, the street markings. They put in some temporary trees, things like that. And then also this one, it's called Pop-Up Rockwell in Cleveland, Ohio. This is actually done by students at, I gotta remember, I think it's Kent State University is the one that's in Cleveland. I don't remember for sure, but they actually set this up where they did a little bit different, but what they call a protected bike lane, where on one side of the street they have bike lanes in each direction, fully protected, and then they had transit stops with Wi-Fi and those little things in the upper right-hand corner that say Rockwell Avenue Wi-Fi hotspot. Those are bioretention areas, so water that drains during rainstorms goes into those boxes and it filters up in and waters the plants, so it's kind of a water drainage prevention method as well. So here was our idea, was to temporarily transform Main Street in downtown Burlington. This was our original idea, and this is what it looks like pretty much today too if you go out there, and our idea was to transform it into something like this, from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, bike lanes, some parking. They actually already have a decent amount of street trees. They could probably use some more, but those are trying to incorporate some of the main elements. So to do this, we had a complete streets committee as a subcommittee to our Des Moines County Living Well. Since it was downtown Burlington, we had downtown partners, myself, we had a local biker, the YMCA. We worked with the city of Burlington on a street layout. We worked to actually set up the event and bring in different vendors, organize other volunteers. We worked on some marketing things. We called this event Better Block Burlington. I don't know if you guys heard about it or went down there. I don't know if I saw anybody there, but so this, we worked with Klingner and Associates. They helped us do some layouts and give us actually more detail about the widths of the lanes and how everything could be set up. So as I mentioned before, I showed those pictures, kind of that was what our vision was for how it could be transformed. This was our first proposal and how we wanted it to look with the 3 lanes, a bike lane each way. You see the crosswalks that are clearly designated as well. Those are a little bit safer, easier for drivers to see. And actually a traffic calming method for drivers as well, keeps them driving a little bit slower. And it was about 0.63 miles, but we were looking to convert it pretty long, down by the library all the way to Angular, which is past the depot. Pretty bold. We cut it down a little bit from Division Street to Angular. So that was our initial proposal. We ended up doing 0.25 miles, which is Division Street and Main Street is kind of the top photo there, and then it went all the way down to Angular where the street lights, traffic lights are on Main Street. And then our final proposal, because of the turn lane was going to cause some issues, actually going to cost a little bit extra. Plus the city had a few concerns about how we were going to set that up. So it ended up being 2 lanes in each direction. There was no turn lane, but we had set up parking on each side and bike lanes on each side, which you can kind of see in the bottom picture there. I don't know if this is really relevant. Here's some of the materials we use. It's just kind of a pavement marking tape. It's made out of aluminum. You just roll it out, stick it on the ground. But here was the final setup here. The picture on the left, you can kind of see there's the dashed lines in black. We covered those up with black. And then a solid white line, and you can see the parking spaces. We left the middle. I don't know if you can see them very well from here, but there's the yellow lines that divide each direction of traffic. We left those there. So you can kind of see that in these pictures. And then this is up close where we put some actual bike lane stencils on there. You can see the traffic moving. This was right when we got done. I think there was about 6 to 8 of us that put this together in the matter of a day. Took a long work, but we got it done. And then the actual event that we held, you could see this there on the left. We had the two bike shops here in town were there, and they had bikes where people could get on them and ride and actually ride bikes on the street. You can see people parking up and down on each side, so that parking's not usually painted, people utilizing the space. There's on the right there, actually some people from the Hawkeye. And then we had some kids do a little bike race in the bike lane there. And then this was just a kind of a snapshot from outside, looking at all the vendors and the people that we had there, people showing up. Considering it was actually rained almost the entire week before, and it was supposed to rain all day, so I think it kind of put a damper on our event a little bit, but we still had a really good turnout, I thought, considering the weather. So we did that for education. So I wanted to give you all this background, kind of all these things we did, because the next step that we're looking to do is to kind of create this complete streets working group or committee where we work towards developing this policy or ordinance for each community to adopt that kind of guides how you guys make decisions in the future on transportation projects, and a way to give more ability for you guys to or more flexibility to allow for, you know, some of the improvements that we mentioned into your decision making for transportation projects. So what we'd like to do is ask for 1 or 2 council members or 1 or 2 staff members to join this group, where we can start talking about how to craft some type of policy or ordinance, and then hopefully at some point bring it back where you guys can look at it and comment on it and approve something. And we're trying to do this both with Burlington and West Burlington at the same time. We've kind of come up with a rough idea. I think we're looking at a group about 12 to 13 people, where we'd have about 6, 7 both from Burlington and West Burlington on our committee. So I don't know if there's anybody that's interested particularly, but I don't know what the time commitment's going to be. I think at Burlington I said hopefully we'd have this some type of commitment of 3 to 5 meetings, but anytime you do something like this, you don't really know. But that's what I would hope, is about 3 to 5, hour and a half long meetings, and that would be the commitment. So that's why we came today, was really to ask you about this. But when I realized we didn't give you the background, I thought I should go over that as well. So sorry if I took so much time, but if you have questions for me, or if anybody would like to volunteer themselves now too, I'd be open for that. But
Any questions of Zach or Deb?
hopefully I didn't take up too much time.
I think I'm gonna give them a week or 2 to see which ones want to volunteer, and then I'll volunteer them.
Okay, if any, but hopefully. Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Zach.
I'm on the sports committee, remember?
Okay. Kelly, you got anything? Leslie, you got anything? Couple of things. One other thing we need to think about is our library liaison is resigning, and we need to find a replacement for that person. If you can think of anybody, that might be a good one. And the other thing is, we had our meeting this morning with our mandatory meeting on our urban renewal plan. Whenever we do something new, we have to meet with the Board of Supervisors, or a representative of the Board of Supervisors, representative from the school district, and representative from the college. The only one showed up and has been showing up is Superintendent Schmidt, and the rest of them, I guess, don't seem important enough to come to these things, because especially since
They changed the law, so SCC did not.
the SEC don't have to show up anymore? Well, good, still.
Before they got in trouble for not I mean, they,
Okay. Okay.
weren't on the list.
Well,
They weren't
used to be.
invited. Yeah, they used to be, they
Well,
just changed that in
Well, it's the county and
July.
the school board, or the school board, so. And, lately, I've heard a lot of talk about abuses of TIF and stuff coming from the courthouse, and here was a chance for them to make comments, and they didn't show up. So. Public hearing. I'll open a public hearing to consider general obligation vehicle acquisition loan agreement. Do we receive any comments?
No.
Any written comments? Any verbal comments? Anyone wishing to make a comment during a public hearing? This is to borrow up to $12,000 for the purpose of paying the cost to extend of acquiring a vehicle for the use of the Public Works Department.
And again, I'll mention like I did last time, we're not borrowing any more money for this. It's money that was left over from a previous project that in order to legally spend it on something else, we have to do this public hearing to tell the public that we're not going to use it on a street construction project like we originally had the public hearing for. We're going to use that leftover money to buy this truck, so.
Anyone wish to make a comment? Close the public hearing. New business. Item number 1 is to consider demotion of fire captain back to firefighter. Andy Nevergall is wishing to return to being a firefighter.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Did Crowner second that? I'm sorry. Did you
Tree
what?
supported.
Trees support?
I made the motion.
She made the motion.
I
Bob
supported it.
supported.
That's why I just
Or-
checking. Okay, Raleigh,
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 2 is to consider payment to Keokuk Contractors for the West Lift Station project in the amount of $17,588.90 with a retainage of $1,000.20.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
Just want to mention that the money that the TIF money we borrowed for that, because of that extra work we had to do there, we went over that. We don't have we're going to use some of the sewer capital equipment set aside to finish out paying this instead of, because we ran out of our TIF money. If you recall, we found, air that we had to replace,
There was an air relief valve that needed to be replaced.
that we found we didn't know and didn't include in the project, and that was an extra expense, so it's appropriate to spend the sewer capital equipment money on that. It's gonna be about $5,000.
We have a motion?
Yeah.
Roll call.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 3 is to consider portable radio buyback for the fire department radios. It's a switch out at no cost to the city to replace some of these radios that haven't performed like they should have been.
Motion approved. Support.
Motion with support. Well, any discussion? Roll call.
Lees.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Have you tested these other radios then, Mike?
These were the radios that the committee first wanted right off the bat. They wanted Kenwoods. And somehow the committee got off of that and went with Furtec, and we don't know why. We're still having problems with them. Will this thing help us? Yeah, absolutely it'll help us. Will it fix it? No. It won't fix it. There's more issues to the radio system problems than this, but this will improve our handheld
Communication.
capabilities. And that's what I'm after right now.
Item number 4 is to consider purchase of carbon monoxide meters for the fire department. 2 for $3,000, minus a grant from Alliant of $1,500.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any
We-
discussion?
Why are we getting such a good deal on these? Are these gonna be an
I don't have a
outdated
clue, because
model?
we've been looking at them, Deputy Chief Stewart's been looking at them for over a year. After I brought it up to, we need to purchase them, and we finally stayed long enough to find a distributor that's got them brand new, probably sat on the shelf so long he wants to move them. And it's a heck of a buy, because you can't even buy one of them for that price. So,
Roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Raleigh,
Aye.
Stewart. Aye. Lees.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 5 is to consider the sale of light bars and radiant heater on govdeals.com. Excessive stuff from the fire department.
Motion to approve.
A motion
Support.
with support. Any discussion? Are those the heaters that were in the,
the old middle school, we had Brockway go through them. The cost, the reason why we're selling them is the cost of installation
oh, okay.
is huge, and there's no way we can do it. We'd like to put it towards the back of the station to heat that area, since we've only got 2 of the grid heaters in there. But installation of running a gas line and getting these things hung are too much money.
Roll call.
Raleigh,
Aye.
Stewart. Aye. Lees.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 6 is to consider sale of a 1995 Chevy pickup on govdeals.com.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
You'll
Still
do a
think this-
part-time job if you buy that.
You still think this is the best way to go, Mr. Gifford?
It seems like, I don't know, we can guarantee anything more than that. I know with the, when we include it with this, I know with that other truck, I was, in addition to doing the Gov Deals, I was gonna run an ad in like the Bonnie Buyer and locally point people to Gov Deals, so get some more local interest, and we'll put these on together and do that to try to spur some, anybody local can pay more because they don't have to come from North Carolina to buy it. So we'll see what that does. If we're not happy with the way it goes, we'll look at it next time, but try some additional advertising along with Gov Deals and see if that helps get
That
some
might help.
interest.
I've also talked to one local snow removal contractor to let him know
Okay.
there's gonna be some trucks available, and once we get them on there, then I'll try to get a hold of a couple more.
That might help. Yeah, I don't think this has done us a good job on vehicles. I think it's a fine way to get rid of small stuff that's shippable, but I think this is a poor way to sell vehicles. But if you're gonna do that, that might help.
It's gonna be a cold, wintry weather coming up.
There you go. You can have another job.
Awesome. Go out driving, you get in the front.
Okay. Roll call.
Stewart. Aye. Lees.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 7 is to consider purchase of personal protective gear for the fire department. 2 sets of bunker gear for $4,442.22.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart. Aye. Lees.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 8 is to consider purchase of monthly access to a clear database for law enforcement. Amounts to about $150.90 per month, so that's over $1,000 expenditure. And my understanding is it gives them a better program to do background checks, basically.
Apparently, according to Frank, it's gonna save a lot of time and energy and free up the officers to do what we hired them to do, and this will make it easier for Frank to do it right from his computer rather than have somebody run around and go check on people like we've done in the past, so.
Do we have people that come in and ask for background checks or anything
Get-
like that?
People from the ammunition plant, when contractors go out there, we have to do background checks on them, so.
Do we
Do we
charge
charge
or
them for
anything like that?
Yeah, they charge.
Okay.
They charge for those. This one wouldn't be, this program wouldn't be used for that. That's a separate thing, but,
Okay. I just wondered.
but yeah, they do charge.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Stewart. Aye. Lees.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 9 is to consider electric facilities extension agreement with Alliant Energy for the Public Works Facility project.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion.
Randy, I'd have a little electricity out there.
Yeah, motion with support. Any discussion? I guess we gotta have gas too.
Yeah, there'll be a gas one coming when they get around to getting it to me.
Used to be part of the thing that they, would run power to your building.
Can we start deducting the streetlights that have been out forever and a day and we keep paying for them? Can we
Guess we
subtract
could
that
start
off of
doing that.
Get our money back?
Work.
Yeah, they are giving us a lot more than that in a rebate, so,
Well, they're getting it back.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Found it interesting they wouldn't do this until they had our check.
Yeah, that's been the last couple of things we've done, and I even complained about it last time, and I didn't get anywhere with it, with my complaint, so.
When do they come back to visit us?
Oh, she'll be here before too long.
Oh,
It's-
good,
Nancy will be here.
good. I want to
But,
visit with Nancy.
she's also just the messenger.
I know, but we have a
need
message
to-
for her.
Roll call.
Lees.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart. Aye.
Motion carried. I forgot all about it, and I apologize. I didn't ask anybody if they wanted to address the council matters that were on the agenda or not on the agenda earlier. That was a chance to jump at it.
They all left.
I don't have anything else. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.